If everything goes well, then you really have nothing to tell.
Absolutely.
And it turns out that entrepreneurship triggered the biggest personal growth process in me. Your mind is going to make you think, hey, I need to keep you here. You have the awareness, first of all, and then you figure out, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Let's get back in tune.
Hopefully, for sure, help me transform my life. So, welcome to another episode of the Transform Podcast. We're here giving you value and teaching you ways on how to transform your health, wealth, and relationships. I'm super excited today because I'm here with Ricardo, my brother. Thank you for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me about you.
Well, I'm just a Venezuelan that got here about 20 years ago to the US. I decided to pursue entrepreneurship after 10 years in corporate. And it turns out that entrepreneurship triggered the biggest personal growth process in me. Many people, they have some things happen in their lives. For me, it was definitely entrepreneurship that started me on that path, and where I basically went through that rabbit hole of personal growth.
Beautiful. I would certainly ask you about that, but take me back. What trigger that move 20 years ago from Venezuela to here? Because I know how hard that could be.
Oh yeah. That's so many people know about communism in Venezuela. Chavez came into power, and things started getting pretty shaky in the country. And before I finished school, I decided I was going to leave the country. It was just something that I just set my mindset to do. I said, I have to leave the country. I can't build a life here. I have to go someplace else. And I always loved coming to the States, and so I wanted to come here. It was funny because I interned at a company to get some experience, and I got actually offered a job to go to Germany.
Wow.
At the time. But as luck has it, they ended up changing the offer for me to come to the States. They said, we have an emergency in the States, when things really worked out for me. So I came in 2004.
That's amazing. Tell me about you growing up.
I grew up in a traditional family in Caracas, Venezuela. I have a sister, both parents together. I was really lucky, to be honest with you. Had a great childhood growing up in my country with my family around me. And for those of you that know Venezuela or the tropics, you're from Cuba.
I'm Cuban.
It's a totally different lifestyle, right? It's very much, the community aspect is very important. The family aspect is extremely important. Just to give you an idea, my dad is the number 10th sibling. So he's number 10 in his family. And so imagine our get-togethers as a kid.
Massive family.
Over 20 cousins.
Wow.
And so it was amazing really growing up in that country. So my childhood was really traditional. Grew up in a great household. In Venezuela, when we go to college, I went to college in Venezuela for my undergrad. Cool. And so when we go to college there, you actually live at home. It's different. It's much different than here. You stay at home because I lived in the city.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Caracas, so there's colleges in Caracas, so I went to school there. So
you go to school during the day, right? And then go home at night.
You go home exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So it's much different than here. Most people will think, well, that's awful, but it was actually great. Great food every single day, clean clothes,
Your bed,
Yeah. So again, childhood very traditional, but very much a blessed childhood. Yeah. So I can't really complain. I was actually posting about that the other day. That, hey, I had a great childhood and parents and it doesn't mean that you can't have something trigger your personal growth process. You don't need to have something tragic happen to you.
Yeah. It could be just life move.
Life just suddenly gives you something to say, hey.
Time to take action.
There's this great saying that pain pushes until the vision pulls. I love it. Pain pushes until the vision pulls.
That's amazing.
You get something that triggers you. It's generally some kind of pain, but that pain doesn't have to be earth-shattering,
So that push you told me happened for you after that 10-year-long corporate America job. Tell me about that job and tell me about the actual trigger that make you make the jump.
Okay, so.
That's two questions. So let's start with the company, and you don't have to mention names. Just tell me what you were doing and at what capacity, what you learned, and then we'll take you to that point of change?
Sounds good. So when I got here, I'm an ME. My background is mechanical engineering.
Awesome.
So I worked in a company. My specialty was fluid power. So I'm actually certified as a fluid power specialist. So I went to work with a company that was a manufacturer of fluid power products, basically the premium manufacturer of fluid power products in the world, pretty much. Corporate-wise, to be quite honest, it was comfortable. It was comfortable. It was comfortable to get the nice pay. You know, I started getting a car allowance because I worked in sales after a while. The benefits were amazing. I got home. I was home every single day early in the afternoon, so I could watch my kids and be with my family. But there was something in me, and I remember I had a performance review at the end of the year, and the performance review was great, was stellar, you know? And then I came home, and I remember telling my wife, like, you know, honey, I think I can do more. Like, there's something missing. Like, there's a resistance missing, and there's, like, I could feel the possibility was much wider. I felt like I was being boxed up.
I definitely felt that as well sometimes.
And I realized, I mean, nothing against corporate. I think I was very happy, but I definitely felt that it was me boxing myself up. It wasn't the company because it was my decision to stay there.
Yeah, you were like literally on your comfort zone.
I was in my comfort zone.
And someone like your future you was calling you from outside of your comfort zone.
Here's a funny thing. I believe that we create everything in our lives, okay? First of all, everything we see is our own creation, right?
Right.
From consciousness.
Sure.
So it's a deeper concept, but let's just keep that concept in mind. And here's why I say it. I started getting that, feeling that spark in me, saying there's something more that you should pursue. You know, like you're not giving it your all. You're just staying comfortable. You're cruising, you know. You're almost drifting, really, because you're doing what people are basically telling you to do and just going with the flow, right? It's a good expression, but not in this case when you're drifting.
Right.
And so it seems that I created, that's why I'm saying it. Suddenly I get this, sorry, my phone's ringing.
You're good.
You can cut it off. So suddenly I get this opportunity for a massive promotion comes up. Okay? And it turns out everyone's eyeing me for it. I didn't even want it. Again, I was comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't even want it because I thought it's going to jeopardize the things that are important for me, which are my family. I was basically going to live out of a hotel, you know? That promotion came in. I got offered the promotion in the company, and that's what triggered me to think bigger. Because I thought, okay, if they're going to be forcing me to get into a role that I don't want, then I better look for the one or create the one that I do want, right? Because if you say no to a promotion, what happens?
Oh yeah, you're on the naughty list.
You're on the naughty list, right? So I said, okay, perfect. This is the trigger. And we were talking about here in the chamber how Miami is such an abundant region. I actually started taking time off. I took personal days off to fly. I used to live in South Carolina. To fly to Miami and to meet new people, just to network. It was amazing. Now that I think back, it's like, holy moly, you know? Just the network. So I would come here, spend a couple days, and go back. Come here, spend a couple days, go back. And in that process, I found what seemed to be the entrepreneurial venture that I could jump on. But that's a separate part of the story.
So tell me about that. Tell me, okay, so now you're at the point where the decision, you're about to make the leap, right? So what actually cost you to do it, aside from the trips and the people that you met? Like, what was like, okay, now this is it, and this is what I'm going to pursue?
So when that promotion came in, because actually when the opportunity was kind of brewing, that's when I saw it as, hey, I better look somewhere else. So I better try to find that opportunity. And that's when I started traveling here. When I found the opportunity, it actually coincided with me getting the offer for that promotion, you know? I get the offer, and it was terrible. It was a terrible offer. It was like, okay, you're going to get all this responsibility. You're going to be living out of a hotel, you know, but it's not going to be much a much different pace.
Yeah,
So
compensation was pretty much the same thing.
but it's funny because and it's not all about the money, but I had already realized that it wasn't aligned with my vision for life.
Yeah, because less time with your family, like traveling around, all that crazy stuff.
Massive. It was a massive, derailer from what I wanted as a vision for my life. And that's what really triggered me to say, okay, I'm going to pursue this opportunity that I found.
So tell me about that opportunity.
So,
You've been tempting me, man.
So two things. The first one is, and just as looking back on it, really, the first mistake, let's talk about the failures.
Good. I love that.
That was a failure.
Yeah.
And I want to bring it up because it's such a valuable piece of advice.
Yeah.
If everything goes well, then you really have nothing to tell.
Absolutely.
So first error that I made was I took a leap of faith in the sense that I jumped off the cliff, with
no parachute.
No parachute, no nothing. I think it was a mistake because I could have done the side hustle thing at the time. Okay,
Right.
so for anyone that's looking to transition from corporate to some kind of venture, side hustle. Just give it a shot. Get your feet wet, get your hands dirty into the new project, but you don't necessarily have to jump off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know why we like extreme so much, right?
Well, that's the way I was, by the way, and that was an aspect of my personality that I've learned to change. I was very much a black or white kind of guy.
Right.
So now it makes sense, right? But another piece of advice, everything is perfect. So everything that happens in your life happens for you.
Yeah.
In fact, your life happens because of you. I like that thing. Have you ever heard that one?
Yeah.
You've always heard the life doesn't happen to you.
It happens for you.
Well, there's another one that's even better. It doesn't happen to you. It doesn't happen for you. Life happens because of you.
Huh, that's beautiful.
You're the one that creates your life. Again, going back to the first concept, right?
Yeah.
But my point is, okay, you don't need to take that leap of faith in that sense. You don't need to jump off the cliff completely. Especially, keep in mind, 2 kids. My wife was pregnant with our third when I made that decision.
So you were scared out of your mind. I'm sure.
I was in total fear.
Yeah.
But I kept thinking, it's my mind playing tricks on me. Because again, I was leaving my comfort zone, and obviously your mind is going to make you think, hey, I need to keep you here, right? In the comfort zone, even if it's a comfort zone of misery.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's why I took the leap of faith. First advice. Second piece of advice. So the business that I partnered with, I thought that I had to stay in the same area of expertise that I came from, okay? Are you noticing like the box, how I'm boxing myself in?
Yeah.
And so I partnered with people that had an existing heavy equipment business. And my idea was, how about we create another division? We create a spare parts division, and I'm going to run that division. So we're going to create a separate company as part of that main company, and that's going to be the separate business, basically.
Right.
And so next piece of advice, nothing really replaces, or your values are non-negotiable.
100%. Elaborate on that.
Your values are 100% non-negotiable. And I say within the personal growth process, the first thing that ever happens is awareness, okay? You have to become aware of what your set of values are. And a lot of people think, well, that's pretty romantic. It's not romantic. When you think of values, and I always talk about values on LinkedIn, is why is it so important? You need to know, that's like your boundaries. Imagine you have your home. That's your boundaries. You won't do anything outside of that.
Right.
And you shouldn't, because you're going to feel really uncomfortable. Okay?
Yeah, because you define your identity as a human.
Absolutely. And by the way, a quick tip to figure out values. A lot of people say, well, a lot of people choose the nice to have values that are posted on websites,
Right.
That's not values. You live your values every single day. So a great way to figure them out is, first, figure out your anti-values. For example, tell me something you can't stand in the world. Like something, that
Lack of discipline, lies.
Okay, there you go. So you have a couple. Discipline. So you probably value discipline. You probably value excellence as well, right?
For sure.
So so figure out what you can't stand. For example, there's something I can't stand and I really can't stop myself when I see it happening. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm going to do something about it. Injustice. If I sense injustice in some aspect, I'll do something about it. And I can't even stop myself. So then that's an anti-value, the injustice. So then the value is justice. That helps amazing. You figure out your values.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from. I think we're so hardwired through evolution or whatever you want to call it to see all these negative things around us. Mm-hmm. So if you start thinking now, what are 5 things that are non-negotiables for me? It might be a lot harder to find those than to say, what are the things I just hate? Because we're so hardwired for the negative, so I love that.
100%.
And then just embrace it.
Yeah, because a lot of people think I'm going to go for the pretty, the nicer, romantic, whatever people have on their websites. That's not what you need. I've met people that have complained that, hey, I feel bad because I'm acting in opposition to the values that we post on the website. I'm talking about founders.
Wow.
Say, well, the problem is not that you're acting in opposition. The problem is what you have posted has nothing to do with who you are. Okay, so that's the first thing. Going back to my story, what do I say values? I partnered with people that had opposite values to what I had. Okay? So, and I'm not saying one is better than the other.
No, it's just a difference in values.
Again, values are important because you're going to, and this is key, you're going to attract people with the same values that you have once you gain clarity on them. I'm talking about employees or associates, shareholders. I'm talking about partners.
Yeah, for sure.
Customers.
Yeah.
Vendors. So it's in the whole chain, you're going to attract people like that. But if you get clarity on them, you're also going to repel
whoever doesn't fit that criteria. Yeah.
It's the easiest filter you can have.
And why would you want that association anyways if it doesn't fit your mission and your core values for you personally or your entity?
Absolutely. So believe me, you'll pay the price. Yeah. And this is part of the prep work in building your ideal business is gaining clarity on my values. If I'm not, for instance, let's say, because we have an industrial company, someone actually asked me, because we have technologies that improve how machines work.
Okay.
And I remember one time someone asked me, talking about going back to Venezuela, this lady approached me and said, hey, I've got this client that would like to acquire all these things from you. And of course, I go into what is this client about? What do they do? I'd love to meet him. And she was kind of, she was holding a barrier. She's like, no, just give us a quote, sell us a product, we'll sell it to them. No, but tell me who they are. It turned out to be the Venezuelan army. Immediately I said, absolutely not. And I don't mean to get political.
Yeah, injustice. You said that one of your core values was like justice, and you don't believe that those people will pay the same.
Absolutely not. I don't care if the order is going to be millions of dollars. Right. We're not going to sell that order. We're not interested. Thank you so much. So again, it helps you with your business. But going back to the story, so my partners had opposite values to the ones that I had, There were shady things happening in the company. Within 5 months of joining my new partnership, I decided to leave. No, I left. I decided I'm out. I can't work like these. But here's the thing another piece of advice. Follow your intuition. Follow your intuition. If I can tell someone just one piece of advice, develop your intuition. Everyone comes with intuition. We're very intuitive.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes we don't trust that, right? Which is a pity. I actually this is a funny story, and this is obviously won't match the tone of what we're talking about, but I think it illustrates the point in a simplistic way for everybody. I have a person in my circle that constantly says, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a duck. So yeah, don't just trust your gut feeling and be confident on your intuition, because that's your inner self, your subconscious mind, whatever you want to call it, your whoever you believe in. That's something telling you this is not your best fit. And sometimes we keep ourselves from better opportunities simply because we don't trust that feeling, and it's a pity.
Absolutely. In fact, I've really learned to believe that intuition is part of your path of least resistance, following your intuition. And for those that think, well, intuition seems like like an out there thing, like a woo-woo thing, it's really not. 95% of all processes come from your subconscious.
Yeah.
Okay. What is intuition, in a sense, is your subconscious gets all these signals that you can't see because your prefrontal cortex is actually filtering those out.
Right.
And it's telling you, it's getting glimpses of what's happening, and it's telling you, whoa, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't seem right. Even though it's good on paper, there's a vibe here that I'm not getting. And so, by the way, I got that vibe. The first day I started working in that company, I got those vibes when I walked in.
The very first day.
The very first day, I said, there's something funky here.
And that takes me to the question I wanted to ask you earlier, but I think it's the best, right now it's the best segue. Why do you believe that we do not trust our intuition? And we walked into these opportunities or mistakes, or let's define it as whatever we want. Why do we give a blind eye to this force that is telling us this is not right for us?
I think...
And obviously everybody's different, but to you.
To me, yeah, it's personal. The way I see it is, just look at what society has us programmed to do. You know, when you think about what is the perfect scenario for someone, what did your parents, I mean, nothing against my parents, but
right.
What did they think was the best thing for you?
Yeah, like the American dream, cookie cutter, go to school, graduate, get a good paying job, have a family with 2.5 children. And,
even the graduating part of it, it was specific careers.
Right,
they
be a lawyer, an attorney,
there you
architect, engineer, that type of high paying jobs.
So from the very beginning, you're basically programmed to follow a specific set of instructions.
Right.
Regardless of who you are. And by the way, going back to that, which is a core aspect of my coaching program, is who are you? Like, I believe, in fact, I'm going to say, I know each one of us comes with a specific gift to this world.
For sure.
That's like a puzzle piece that the world needs to function even better.
Yeah.
And to, evolve in consciousness even. I'm willing to say that.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that statement.
And I think because we're programmed, again, we want to belong, we're programmed to survive. Part of survival is reproduction, is belonging, is, feeling like you're part of a community. You don't want to ruffle the feathers, right? You want to belong, so you follow that.
That's standard.
Who do you call the rebels in the world?
Oh, the people that are not doing exactly that. The guy that's going on their own, the guy that, it's 30 or 40 and maybe is not married yet, doesn't have a family, the guy that never went to college. The guy that dropped out in high school. And it turns out that some of the most successful people in the whole world have been the rebels.
The people that have changed this world.
Right.
And again, I go back to the gift. Those ones that honor their gift. So I think going back to your question, I think it's society kind of having us programmed to follow the script. And if you don't follow the script, then you're out of it, right? Then you're not going to be successful. So I think that's why we don't follow our intuition. I think...
Beautiful. Beautifully said. Because you're saying social pressures is what leads you as an individual to not follow your own perspective of what your life should look like. I always thought it was a confidence thing, like me doubting my own decisions. Like this thing telling me, oh, this is not the best place for me, might not really be that's not really the good place for me. It's just that I'm just doubting whether I belong or not, right?
Well, actually, that when you start doing something repetitively, then you create a new belief around it.
Right.
So by you following those instructions, then you immediately create a belief behind it. I'm telling you because I have the same thing. I've been working to change those beliefs, actively working to change those beliefs. And then those beliefs basically become who you are after that. That becomes your personality, right?
Right.
And so if you were programmed that way, if you had to follow the path of getting a career, getting a degree, whatnot, and you don't, immediately your fear response kicks in and says, whoa, 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 you're outside of what you should have done. And so that's where it comes from. I think everything stems from the same, similar thing, of course. There's a self-worth belief that might be formed there from other things, but that's a deeper subject. But I think the majority of what we see happening right now with people, actually, I'm going to be a bold enough to say hustle and grind. I mean, hustle has its place, but it doesn't have to be a grind. I think it is a grind because you're probably not doing something that you came here to do. Trying to follow someone else's dream of life.
That's very deep. I like that.
I believe it. I think we have, again, we're talking about intuition. Intuition it's such a wide topic that we can talk for hours.
Forever.
But really, if you work on developing your intuition, and a lot of people talk about following your heart. Notice, in your daily decision making, are you following your heart, your intuition, or are you following your mind? And a great way to know is, do you believe that by doing or not doing something, you will win or lose something and feel fear? So is it fear-based?
Wow.
Or is it expansion-based and creation-based? Like, it's your decision, but you can really notice. Like when we joined, for example, I was joining that business which led us here.
Right.
I was afraid that I would fail. I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to provide for my family, right?
Right.
It's all fear-based. Notice how I wasn't following my intuition. Had it been my heart, I would have said, I'm going to give this thing a go no matter what. And I know I'll be successful. I just know. It doesn't really matter because I know I'll create an impact that's meaningful for me. And I'll leave a legacy for my children, and my wife. So, see the difference?
No, that's extremely powerful. It's, again, just going back to the fact that you could decide the outcome of this simply on a decision. It's mind-blowing. But it also gives you awareness of, like, am I doing this simply because I'm scared out of my mind and I just need to fix my immediate situation, or is this a long-term play? So that's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. That's phenomenal.
And notice the things happening in the world right now.
Oh.
Are they fear-based, you think? Let's not go into details, okay?
You're right.
But are they, for your audience, are they fear-based or are they based on love and creation? And love is, I know, it's a romantic word. But you know what I mean. Is it coming from your heart? No?
Yeah.
So
put it in the comments what you think. I'm not gonna give an opinion here. All right, so tell me about, all right, so now you're out of this place. Did not align with your values. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's recap what you just said because I think it was pretty powerful. 2 key lessons I learned from you. So let me know if I'm wrong. You don't have to jump out of a burning building if the elevator and the stairs are still working. So don't jump, right? Don't make the jump if you could do your passion as a side hustle. The second thing you mentioned is like follow your intuition. Do not distrust yourself. Forget about conforming with society. If this does not fit with your values and the way you feel, walk away. It's okay. And everything that happens for you, everything that happens to you happens for you, and you are the one making it happen, right? Awesome. Am I on the good path?
You're on track. You're on track.
Beautiful. So then tell me what came after. So what brought you here today?
It's a long
Summarize it for me. Really quick.
I'll summarize it. So I decided to leave this company and found myself pretty much hanging, right? I thought, I even have thoughts of going back to my job.
Wow.
But then because, and that's how perfectly the universe and God works, is, okay, you're here. I'm going to send you somewhere where it's not so easy for you to go back. okay? So you give it a shot. And I decided to give myself a shot. I thought, okay, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to do things my way. Again, boxed up in my expertise in fluid power, but I thought, okay, if it's something I know, let's juice it, right? Let's see if I can take advantage of it. Yeah. So I started traveling through Latin America, finding out if I had a good enough customer base to create, to basically feed that business through. And it turns out I did. And so I kind of reinvented the business as a fluid power distribution company.
I never got to ask you, and obviously in my area of expertise, what is fluid power?
Fluid power is the world of hydraulics.
Okay.
Hydraulics and pneumatics. Pneumatics that's basically what powers machines in the world, okay? When you see a heavy piece of equipment, it works with fluid power. You can basically send power to different parts of the machine. That's why you see a shovel that moves.
Okay.
You see the wheels that move. That's all fluid power.
Got it.
It's just a way to transfer power without the need for an axle.
Okay, beautiful.
Through hoses.
Yeah, I just wanted to understand it. Awesome.
Same with pneumatics, different applications, for example, for pharmaceuticals. But long story short, so I decided I'm going to develop this business. I decided I'm going to give it a shot. And synchronicities start coming up, right? I start getting distribution lines from different distribution lines are basically manufacturers that say, yeah, we're going to authorize you as our distributor for this region.
Nice.
So you basically get preferential pricing, you get training, you get all the good stuff to provide to the region, right?
Beautiful.
And so I started seeing things happening. I started getting some orders. There weren't enough, but so to be honest with you, I caved in sometimes to the fear. And so I even applied for jobs in the middle of starting just to get back to the safety. But it's funny, again, the synchronicities. I remember I got a job offer.
Wow.
And that same day I get this nice order. And I get a call from a friend of mine in the industry telling me, man, you did it. You finally unplugged from the matrix and you're doing your own thing, And I decided to listen to the signs, and thank God I did, because I guess those are the blessings that we might not see in the moment, but then now looking back on them, I think they kind of energized me to continue on with it. And, we thankfully built it up to 7 figures.
Amazing.
So amazing. It was all going great. We opened an office in Central America to operate. We hired a service team and sales team because I won't go into the details of how the dynamics of the business makes sense to service, for service to basically generate the demand. COVID. Actually, before that.
Okay. Tell me.
And it's another important point, distractions. When things are working out in your business, you're going to get, a great sign is you're going to get distractions.
Yeah, for sure.
And here's what I mean. I started getting people calling me because they knew what was happening to offer me other stuff, meaning other product lines or other ventures to get involved in. And initially I said no. I was really focused on developing this one baby that I had, that I was still growing. Make sure you stay focused on that. Once you find out you have viability, man, stay focused on it.
Hone in, yeah.
Go all in. Don't overcomplicate things. Just trust the process and go all in. Don't look to your sides, Make sure you notice the distractions. I didn't. And I caved in. So I joined another group of partners that said, hey, we have this business. We'd love you to join with us as a partner and run it for us.
Wow.
So I got distracted.
Yeah. So that took away from your own business, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it was running. We had associates part of it, but it still needed me to grow, right? I mean, you're still, again, going back to the values and everything, you're kind of creating this entity that's almost as an extension of you.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice that until later on. But my point is, I got distracted. I did not listen to my intuition because my intuition said, don't do it.
Wow.
Don't do it. And I even told my partners after telling them yes, I said, you know what, guys, I've thought about it. I think I'm going to just focus on my business. Here's the other thing about intuition. Intuition doesn't need an explanation. Okay? So you get a nudge. You don't have any explaining. You don't know anyone an explanation but yourself.
Yeah.
and your immediate family, if that.
But it happened again, and you were not, this time around, it doesn't sound like you were coming from a place of fear. So how did that happen? This is what I'm so interested on human behavior because of this, right? It doesn't sound like you had any fear. You had a successful venture, like you were getting people reaching out to you, and you still did not follow your intuition this time around. Why was it?
So two things. I'm being really vulnerable here, but I did not feel successful. Okay.
Wow.
So the mindset behind it was, I'm not there yet. Like I saw it as this place that I was going to get to, maybe a specific revenue level, maybe a specific comfort for myself in my life, maybe how automated it was, whatever. I did not feel successful. Okay. The second one I'm going to tell your audience is, I didn't notice the cycles. Have you noticed? So again, I'm sorry, going back to successful, if you don't feel successful and you're still chasing the money, then you're in fear.
Okay.
So I was still in fear.
Wow.
But it was stressed different.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. It's going back to what I told you before. You gave it a better picture than I did in explaining it, but what you call fear, I call a lapse in confidence.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Also, I didn't notice the cycles. Why do I say cycles? Okay, the cycle of your intuition giving you the nudge, and you not paying attention, and then going to a dead end road or down a cliff or whatever. And the same thing happened. I didn't pay attention. I dedicated a lot of time to that company, and it turned out that, again, same thing. Partners were not meeting their commitments. We weren't getting the investments that we got promised. Then the manufacturer failed us. Long story short,
Didn't work out.
It was another failure.
Another learning opportunity.
Another learning opportunity. But you know what's funny that I'm really thankful for? My business kept operating.
Nice.
And I can almost feel like businesses that you create from your heart and from the core of who you are, it's going to sound crazy, but it's like you have this loyal entity. You have this entity that's really loyal.
Man, you're going back to what you said before. It's like you're staying true to your purpose in life. Your God-giving whatever gift. You should stay true to that and associate with people that believe in the same.
Yeah.
Why would it be otherwise?
But it's crazy how it keeps giving and giving. Even it's almost like you failed to see it and to pay attention, and then it's still there for you. It's like a good best friend, like I'll be here for you when you need, when you need me. And so that's what happened with my business. So that entity, basically I left actually when COVID hit, because that's where I was going. COVID hits. And our revenue, and okay, no excuses, but it was really hard for us because our revenue went down first 25%, then 35%, then 50%.
Man, it was hard times.
It was really hard times. We could not, because we're a heavily end user market type business, so we have to be in front of our customers.
We're going to the facilities and all that stuff.
To mines and to manufacturing facilities and to power generation companies, etc.
And all those places are shut down.
We couldn't go in. We were forbidden to go in.
Wow.
So we had actually maintenance agreements signed with large mining companies for the year, and they said everything's canceled.
Yeah. Wow.
So imagine what that does. So anyways, my point is, I think there was something, I don't know where it came from, to be honest with you, but there was this sense in me of, there's got to be some opportunity. That's when we went into e-commerce.
Nice.
So I retreated out to the mountains. We went out to North Carolina, spent some time in the mountains, which I love. And it's a great tip because it allows the noise to come down.
Completely.
Connecting with nature.
And then
you're listening to your real inside. That's when we went into e-commerce. And we went into Amazon. We went into we opened a Shopify store. And so we started just finding a new sales channel.
Wow.
That was just me getting up in the morning and putting all the products and figuring out how to put them in there. But again, it opened up a new revenue
stream for you.
Yeah, revenue stream for the company. It was challenging to the point where I started second guessing myself, And that's when I decided to finally invest in myself.
And that's what brought you to consulting.
I started doing technical consulting with my companies, with my clients, and those consultations usually would turn into more of a coaching opportunity in sales and leadership and cohesion and those types of things. And so I got the nudge to, hey, look into these. And I remember asking my family for advice. I asked my wife and my kids. I have 3 kids. My middle daughter tells me, Dad, but it was like that. She didn't even think about it. She's like, you should be a coach. And my next question was, why do you say that? You're always trying to help people. You're always talking. I'm the kind of guy, you've noticed here.
I've noticed here.
I haven't even let Alex talk.
That's a good thing.
But I love connecting with people. I just love it. I love getting to know people's history or their stories. I'm sorry. Getting to know what they want and how I can help bring that or ease that or catalyze that into their lives. And so she tells me that. She's like, you're always talking with people. You're always trying to help people.
Wow.
And so you connect with people. It's amazing. 11 years old.
Wow.
And
Power to you. Congrats on having children like that.
Thank you. Honestly, our kids teach us. I believe our kids teach us more than we teach, to be honest.
For sure.
And so I decided to invest in myself, which is my next piece of advice. You need to invest in yourself. You're in banking. Right. I think it's the only investment with a guaranteed exponential ROI.
Yeah.
Guaranteed, 100%.
The highest yielding investment you could do is investing back in yourself.
100%, okay? And it's not just in money. Money is just a consequence of you flowing in life. Right. You're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to enjoy this process, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
And we just stand in our own way. So anyways, I invested in a coach, first in the cohort, which is a group type coaching.
Amazing.
It really started showing me things about myself that I didn't know. Mm. And it was interesting to see a different perspective on how you can really create anything you want, okay?
Wow.
So it was, okay, how do we figure out what we want and who we are? And then we built something around those 2 ingredients.
Yeah. It's what you said about the business. Sometimes it's just nothing happens in our life simply because we lack focus. We don't know where we're heading. So how could you land, right? How could you fly a rocket, a SpaceX rocket, mm-hmm. and not know where you're heading, whether you're going to Mars or the moon? Like,
100%.
You might land in Saturn or in California, because mm-hmm. you don't know. You need to have a clear vision of where you're heading. Otherwise, you will 100% miss your destination.
Absolutely. So this coaching cohort really opened me up to the whole idea of coaching and how it works, because that's one of the misconceptions that I see right now happening, and it's getting worse, I guess, with coaching. Coach has such a bad word. It's like a used car salesman, right?
Yeah.
But when you follow your intuition, go ahead. You're gonna say something.
I was gonna say that's one of my favorite questions in this podcast. Tell me about a misconception in your field and one that you actually would like to debunk. So it's all you. So Thank you for giving me the time to ask it.
Yeah, actually, and more so than the misconception of the coach, because I do believe the coaching world maybe has a bad name.
Like the gurus.
The gurus and all that. I would say follow your intuition more so than reading or seeing how people are living. Lots of people are now taking pictures of themselves in Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and Anyway, I would say, you may connect with those people, and they may bring the key to unlock your greatness.
Uh-huh.
But I do believe once you talk to someone and you vibe together, you'll know.
For sure.
Your heart will tell you.
For sure.
So follow, again, going back to the same core concept, follow your intuition when hiring a coach. But the other one that I wanted to talk to you about is tons of people, and I've had clients like these when I offer my services, is I would never hire someone to come help me in my business unless they've been a billionaire themselves. So do you think every professional sports team needs a coach. Do you think the coach
it's better on LeBron James
can play the quarterback position? No, it's totally different. A coach is there to reflect what they see in you from a different perspective. That's, I think, the most important job that a coach has. So, misconception. You need to be certified and have 20 certifications. You need to make all this money and show me your Lamborghinis to be able to tell me that you can help me. That's completely wrong. In fact, I would ask everyone, do you have kids? You have two beautiful kids.
Yeah.
Did you have to get certified to be a dad?
No, I did not. I'm still learning. I'm still passing the course.
But what's important? What's the underlying theme behind everything you do for your kids?
That I believe I do everything for their betterment. Like, I am concerned about their well-being first of all. Hence, I come from a place of I am doing this simply because I want what's best for you. So all my personal decisions, my employment decisions, my life as a whole decisions are like centered around my love for my children and their, making sure that they had an upbringing that was better than mine. Mm-hmm. At least that's my perspective.
Love it. Love. It's love. If you have a clear intention to serve your clients in whichever way, whatever it is that you do, and you have that intention of love and of servitude, of serving them and helping them, and the mindset of, I can figure things out. I trust myself to figure things out. As long as you have that intention, it's like when you're a dad.
Yeah.
We've had to learn so much. Why is there not a dad certification?
That's a good question. We should create that course. I need to graduate first.
Yeah, we all need to graduate from that. But again, that would be the biggest misconception. I'm not saying that certified coaches are bad. I'm saying that not all certified coaches are bad, and not all people that are not certified are not good enough for what you.
Yeah, but that's like the argument of authority. Oh, I can't teach you a lesson because I don't have a PhD. That's like the dumbest thing, because you could have a PhD and not know anything about your.
100%.
It's like
100%. And you and I were talking offline about our struggles, right? We teach best what we had to learn the most for ourselves.
1000%.
So when and that's that, I go back to the vibes. When you talk to someone, you'll know when it's so meaningful to them, to show you, because they've gone through the same or similar road, and they're here to teach you based on their experience. So that would be the biggest, I would say, misconception about it.
Tell me the best piece of advice you've ever been given. If you could pinpoint one, what would that be?
Honestly, be yourself.
Tell me about that. What do you mean by being yourself? Because I think we have an identity crisis right now in the whole world, right? Because again, we want to be part of the group. We want to conform with social norms, all that stuff. What is being yourself? Being
yourself, and again, this takes a lot of self-awareness.
Of course. I know. That's why I'm asking.
I really believe that the term midlife crisis comes from this programming we have of not being ourselves, And suddenly we find ourselves, after hustle and grinding our way through life and getting the cars and the toys and the family and the home and all those things, suddenly we found ourselves like, this was it,
That's exactly where I'm at. So.
And no meaning, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're spinning your wheels, but there's no traction. Yeah, I'm spinning them real fast. I'm spending a lot of energy, but all I'm doing is I'm overheating the engine, right? And so I think what I mean by being myself is honoring find out who you are. Again, find out what your gifts are. There's things that you've done. If you write down the story of your life, take time, sit down, especially in December right now. I don't know when this is going to come out, but we're in December, it's Christmas.
Next week.
Okay. This is the perfect time to do some introspection. And you don't have to take a lot of time. Do a quick meditation, ground yourself, and then open a Word document and write down the story of your life. And you'll notice when you felt excited about the things you were doing, when time just passed and you didn't even notice, when you were flowing, when like time didn't pass and you like overachieved without necessarily being in grinding mode, you know?
So that's the gift flaring up.
I think that's a gift flaring up. I think that's going to show you, hey, I was here. You know, notice the location, your mindset, who you were with, what you were doing, you know? You were probably giving in some sense.
Wow.
By the way, we're creators by nature, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You were probably creating something. Notice what you were creating then, you know? Then there's also other tools, like there's different aspects to it. It's like in layers, right? The Gallup StrengthsFinder, I think it's a great test. I don't know if you've heard of it, but...
I have heard about the company, but not on that individual test.
It's an amazing test. It's based on positive psychology. And so it basically says, if you invest time on your talents, which are your, you know, you were born with specific traits. If you invest time developing those, you'll get, your ROI will be exponentially higher than if you work on your weaknesses. And I go back to society in our childhood. You brought your great book home. What did your parents focus on when you brought it home?
The grade?
Yeah, the grades, but which ones? The good or the bad?
The bad grades, to be honest. Yeah.
My parents said, hey, you need to work on your whatever, history skills, you know? And they actually would push you to work on your weaknesses instead of working on your strengths and acknowledging your strengths.
Oh, my wife is gonna love this.
Well, it honestly works. Again, you get an infinite ROI. So I think we can have a podcast episode on strengths.
For sure.
I do workshops with companies, so it helps you figure out where if you have the right people within the right role. For example, if you have someone in sales, but they're not relationship or communication type people, they're going to struggle.
For sure.
They're going to have to grind to get the same result of someone that has a communication
that just does
strength, right? But if someone's in accounting and they have the communication, for example, man, they're going to suffer because they're not going to be able to talk to a lot of people, whatever. But you see my point. But also, it helps you empathize when you have a team member that has a weakness in communication. You're going to empathize with them and realize, okay, if we need to communicate something, this guy may have something else he shines on. I'm going to communicate it, or to improve team cohesiveness. So anyway, that's why we do workshops with companies.
Interesting.
On StrengthsFinder. But going back to your identity or who you are is, okay, the number one, that exercise that I told you about to find out your gifts. There's more deeper exercises, but that'll start you down the rabbit hole of figuring out what your gifts are.
That's one of the best pieces of advice that I'm actually going to take away from this podcast. I'm doing that because I was going to ask you, how do you manage to learn what your gift is? And you answered it to me without having to ask the question, so I appreciate that.
Awesome. Happy to help. But then the Gallup helps you, find a different dimension.
Okay.
Find a different dimension or layer of who you are.
Awesome.
You know, finding your strength. So you'll know what to focus on. Then you need to figure out what your purpose is. And by the way, purpose is not something that you figure out as a you get a tool and I have my purpose. No. Purpose unfolds as you live your life. It's like an ongoing process.
Yeah.
So how do you do it? Open up to life. When you get that call from a friend to go to a meeting, this invitation with Alex to come to the podcast, open up to life, and show up. And you'll notice how different elements will come out related to that purpose.
Incredible.
Okay, so I think that's how you figure out the identity part of it. And by the way, it's a foundational aspect of my coaching because you need to know who you are.
Of course, because otherwise, how could you know anything if you don't know the basic thing, which is who you are, what you stand for, where you want to go?
And that's the next one. Glad you brought it up. Where do you want to go?
Right.
What do you want? And in fact, I'm going to do an exercise with Alex as we're done here.
Yeah.
Because it's a perfect, and I would tell everyone to do it, imagine is January 2025.
Okay.
Okay? and sit down and write a letter as if you were there about you here, of all the things that happened throughout 2024 in all the key areas of your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
For instance,
your future self telling your you self today, this is how the year in the future turned out.
Here's why it's more powerful than you think. You're gonna write it as if it happened, so it's already meeting the law of attraction rules, right? It's important to use the right words. Words are really powerful.
Yes.
Okay, and so your thoughts are gonna be finding that evidence, which is gonna lead you, again, going back to the subconscious we spoke about. It's gonna lead you in ways that will make that happen.
Wow.
It doesn't mean you're gonna sit and watch Netflix and it's gonna show up. No.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna get excited about taking the actions necessary to make those things happen. Okay? Maybe a friend will call you. It's magical, believe me. But write that letter. Let me give you an example.
Yeah, sure.
I am so excited to write you, Ricardo. Today, it's January 1st, 2025. Everything you were worrying about, who can relate? Everything you were getting anxious about at the end of 2023 was absolutely a lie coming from your brain. Right after Christmas, and you can add specific dates, it makes it even better.
That's wow.
You got the best gift you could ever get for Christmas, which was, your dream business came to fruition. You suddenly got 10 clients, 10 of your ideal clients came knocking on your door through LinkedIn or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just write down what that means.
What you accomplished, the timeline, the more specific you could be, the better, right?
The more specific, the better. I want you to evoke that emotion in yourself.
4K definition. Paint the picture.
Paint the whole picture. Like, even if you went on your dream vacations with your kids. In fact, you traveled 6 times in 2024. You guys went to see the world and experienced the most amazing locations and the most amazing experiences for all of you. And your family is more united than ever, around love. So imagine that already makes me excited.
Yeah. I could feel the energy already.
Well, you want to be in that energy state.
Right.
And so I would advise, that's what I wanted you to do. Write that letter after grounding yourself. And what's amazing is not only the energy that it evokes and the emotion, but in my case, I got new business ideas I hadn't even thought of. Wow. And I know they were just hidden deep in my brain. Exit strategies. I came up with new pricing models for my business, like new ways to serve my clients.
Incredible.
That I hadn't thought of. And so I'm on, okay, let's create a project plan to get these done with the simpler steps, the simplest 1, 2, 3 steps that I can do right now. You don't have to wait. You can start right now. It's exciting. So that's the vision part of it is something I also work on with all my clients is, okay, let's get clear on what it is you want. So who you are, what you want, and then where you are in relationship to that.
Amazing.
It's
so simple. It's so simple.
It's simple, but no one really takes the time because we're all in the hustle and grind
Everybody's
mode.
running, yeah.
And you're in one routine that has served you before, but now is no longer serving you. By the way, that's probably the reason why your business got stuck.
Yeah.
When you reached the ceiling, you've done great, but you've reached the ceiling. The Alex that started the business and got it to here is not the same Alex that will take it to the next curve of growth.
Yeah.
And
that's the value of help.
Absolutely, to just
Different
point it out to
perspective,
you.
yeah.
And most
Here's
of
a
us,
hammer. Break that glass ceiling.
Break that glass ceiling. And by the way, you've had the hammer there all along.
Right.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. We tend to have limiting beliefs.
For sure. Big believer on that.
It doesn't allow us to see ourselves as the hero selves of a story.
Yeah.
And so for someone else remember when I said you can reflect something back that you see? I see it in all my clients. They're lions dressed as sheep. They have a sheep costume. Even people they're running 9-figure businesses. They're like, I can't do this anymore.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible to hear, because then it's humbling for a person like me, because I have sometimes the same thoughts.
Oh, I have them myself. The important things for you, again, number one, awareness.
Yeah.
This is the awareness aspect. Okay. Where are your thoughts?
This takes me back. You brought me back to a book I read on Native Americans. So imagine how it said that there's 3 traits on highly successful people. The first one is that they have a superiority complex. They believe they're better than everybody else. The second one, check this out. They have crushing insecurities, right? At night, when they go home, they get imposter syndrome. They don't think that they're really better than everybody else. But the third one, and what brings it all together, is that they have the execution skills to stay on task and stay committed to the mission and vision towards the success they want to achieve.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because it's one of the things that I've actually, again, I'm telling you, you teach best what you had to learn the most, right? I am going back to the Gallup. I'm highly strategic. Like it's my way of thinking. You bring me a business model, I'm always thinking, okay, where can we take it? Boom, boom, here, there, and everywhere. And I'm a maximizer, so I always try to improve things. I don't like status quo. I like continuous improvement.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have action-based strengths. Okay? But one thing I learned is I have responsibility. So I'm highly responsible. So if I commit to something with you, I'm gonna come through, man, no matter what. Okay? Otherwise I feel I can't sleep.
Right.
That's just part of who I am.
Yeah. That's one of your values.
Awareness. Okay? Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely. So what I do is I leverage my responsibility to get me to act. So I know I need to get this task done. I may schedule a meeting with you or with someone else as my accountability partner, saying, I'm going to do these by this date. And that's where a coach can also help you.
For sure.
Hold you accountable based on your strengths. That's why it's not about getting certified and getting a cookie cutter approach. It's about catering to the needs of your specific clients. I need to know who you are, to see what levers move you.
Man, you gave the perfect example of why everybody should need a coach at any capacity. Like, I'm a coach to my children, like you said.
We're all coaches.
But then you got LeBron James playing basketball, and he has a coach, and he's the best, amongst the best basketball players in the world. So you painted the picture in 4K of why a coach is needed. So how do we find you?
Okay, so the best way to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn, Ricardo Solorzano. You'll find me there. I call my program Tuned In Coaching. By the way, I'm a musician. That's my passion. But I found that there's elements of music that really help me understand how we work. It's funny. You can't make a guitar sound great, even if you're the best guitar player in the world, if it's out of tune. So I thought, okay, what does it mean to be out of tune for us? When we're not ourselves, we're out of tune. Yeah. You have to find what your tuning is, who you are, and then tune to that frequency. And then you'll attract everything you were supposed to attract for your life. Everything will flow effortlessly. I mean, believe me. I'm so passionate about it because I found out by, again, figuring out when I tune myself to who I am. And I get detuned also every now and then. It's like the butterfly.
Yeah, but
you open your wings,
you have
close your wings.
The ability to execute and come back to.
Well, you use the tools. You have the awareness, first of all, and then you figure out, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Let's get back in tune. Okay? Let's ground myself. Let's meditate. Let's do for me, I do need for example, I have a routine of push-ups and exercise and cold shower. I do them every day. Not everyone has to do them, but I found out I really need it because it builds my self-confidence.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if I meet the promises I make to myself.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's like proof that, listen, if I kept my own promises to myself, why can't I come through for whoever I'm helping?
I'm telling you, Alex, the effect is amazing. Even here, by the way, it's a cheater cold shower because we're in Florida. But
Very true. Very true. So, my friend,
I'm sorry, the website, my name, Ricardo.
I'll post it
Okay.
right here. We
Okay.
find you right here.
Okay, awesome.
I'll list it all. I'll make sure that we have you. If you could say in one word, how can someone out there transform their life? What would that word be?
It would be awareness.
Okay, beautiful.
Awareness.
So be aware of the people you have around you. Be aware of your own beliefs. Be aware of where you want to go. Don't doubt yourself. Stop doubting yourself. All these things are just in here, right? Nothing is limiting you other than yourself. And Ricardo, my brother, I appreciate so much having you here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, man. I hope this talk was fun, and I personally had a lot of fun, and I have a massive amount of takeaways to bring home and share with my family, and hopefully, not hopefully, for sure, help me transform my life. So I appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite. Gracias, Alex.